This is K.M. Weiland, and you're listening to the 94th episode of the Wordplay Podcast. This week I charged back into the outlining fray with my historical work in progress, The Deepest Breath. The first attack on my battle list was streamlining my heretofore cumbersome backstory and making it as uncomplicated as possible. Backstories have a way of evolving into the green goo monster, until they're so big they try to take over the story itself. Fortunately, I have killer goo ninja fighting skills, so I put them to good use, kicking out all the extraneous material that had no good reason to be mentioned in the plot. The result was the inevitable loss of some chewy bits and scenes, but already I can feel my story breathing a sigh of relief that it doesn't have to carry that big load around on its shoulders anymore. Makes my job a lot simpler too when it comes down to it. Now I get to move on to the fun job of creating some brand spanking new subplots. How to bring your writing to life with the telling detail. The latest post in the video series on my blog explains how, in North and South, Elizabeth Gaskell uses a single telling detail to effectively take the place of a lengthy description. You can watch the video on my blog at wordplay-kmweiland, that's weiland.blogspot.com. New videos are posted every Wednesday. Meanwhile, enjoy this week's podcast. What is the 50-page edit, and why will it rock your story? Whether or not you edit as you go really isn't the bazillion-dollar question. The real questions you should be asking yourself are, what's the 50-page edit, and why am I not taking advantage of it? Okay, so it wouldn't take IBM's Watson computer to answer that first question. The 50-page edit is pretty obviously an edit that takes place around the 50-page mark. Why 50 pages, and not 40 or 60 or 38.5? Well, honestly, no good reason, except that the big 50 is a memorable milestone, one that should find you approximately a quarter of the way into your story. That's far enough for you to have some serious mileage in your rearview mirror, but not so far that your destination is anywhere in sight. In other words, it's the perfect place to stop and remember where you've been, so you have a better idea of where you're going. In his book, Revision and Self-Editing, legal thriller author James Scott Bell refers to the 50-page edit as the 20,000-word step back. After 20,000 words, you stop, take a day off, then read what you have. By this time, your story engine should be running. You've done enough of the novel to know pretty much what it's about. You then take some time to make sure you like the characters and the direction. You can also make a decision about the tone and feel of your novel. It may want to take on a different emphasis than what you had planned. A better novel may be asking to be released. Bell only recommends one 50-page edit, but I take it one step further by printing off my manuscript every 50 pages. So maybe you're now asking yourself a third question. Why should I go to the time and trouble of editing my novel every 50 pages? Take a look at some of the benefits. It grounds you in your story. It helps you spot inconsistencies. It helps you fix plot holes. It reminds you of details. It helps you identify potential foreshadowing and symbolism. It allows you to recognize when you're on the wrong track. It polishes your first draft. It helps you build the next 50 pages. Whether your preferred writing method is planning or pantsing, by the time you actually start crafting your first draft, it's amazingly easy to get lost in the minutiae. The fact that crafting a single scene sometimes takes days can put us in a mental time warp and fog our memories about scenes we wrote even just a few pages back. The 50-page edit centers us in our story, reminds us of what we've already written, and keeps us on track for the next 50 pages. In a novel writing journey that can span months and even years, the 50-page edit is an important tool for ensuring our stories maintain cohesion and consistency over the entire story arc. Thank you for listening to the Wordplay Podcast. To read a transcript of this episode, visit me on the web at wordplay-kmweiland, that's weiland.blogspot.com, and be sure to listen again next week.